not defined by my name. So this started in 2003 when I lived in Germany, and I found a Scottish art store that sold kilts, and I was like, I just saw the 51st State. If you don't know what that is, I think it was called Formula 51 here. Samuel L. Jackson was in it, and he had a kilt, and I was like, I'm gonna kill. So here's the thing, you just don't get a kilt. You have to know your family background, and then you get a tartan if you're lucky enough to have been, I don't know, occupied by the English. Then chances are there's a tartan. They occupied the hell out of Scotland. So I'm like, well, I need to know my family background. And she helped me out. She looked up a bunch of stuff. And my dad is a Sullivan, and at this point, I stopped hating my dad for not being around. So I was like, okay, I'll get the Sullivan tartan, which I did. But then that got me interested in what my mother's side of the family was, and I'm a Thompson. Thompson has a tartan too. I didn't get it, mostly because it looked like the Burberry logo. But I looked into my name, and this is when I learned that the Thompson, I'm not really a Thompson. Thompson is the name that she adopted when my grandmother married or remarried, I'm not sure. So she was a Thompson from like 13 on. From 0 to 13, she was a Matthews, or so I thought. My grandmother's a Matthews. I just assumed my mother was a Matthews until I was going through a bunch of stuff. Fortunately, when we got evicted, we still retained all the vital records, the social security numbers, birth certificates, like that. And when I got back from Germany, I just happened to be rummaging through that stuff to put it in a safe. And I looked at the birth certificate, her birth certificate. She's not a Matthews. She's a Wright. What? Like my grandmother's a Matthews. My great-grandmother is a Matthews. She's a Wright. Great. Who the fuck is Wright? So, exactly. So I looked into it some more. So my great-grandmother, she was definitely a Matthews. My grandmother adopted the name Matthews, and I can't remember from where. But my great-grandmother was a Matthews. That's all I know. I don't know anything about my great-grandfather. I don't know anything about my grandfather. I don't know anything about my blood grandfather, I should say. The only thing I know is about this guy named James Thompson who, gave me my uncles. That's pretty much it. And it was a little bit frustrating because, like, all this time I thought that I was a Thompson and my mom was a Thompson, and then I was like, okay, well, she changed her name when she was 13, not a big deal. She's a Matthews. So I went around thinking that was what the truth was. And I tried to ask her about the whole Wright thing, and she denied it. I had the birth certificate in my hand. Like, I'm sitting here like this, like, no, it says Wright. It's right here, it says Wright. No pun intended. Completely denied it. It's kind of like the way people get frustrated when you talk to like a climate denier or something like that. The evidence is there. There are bears dying in the North Pole. The ice caps are melting. They're liquid. No. And I should have known, like, right there that, like this wasn't the only thing that she didn't exactly tell me the truth about. Because the other thing that she didn't tell me the truth about was all the credit cards she was putting in my name while I was in Germany. She admitted that she needed a little cash, so I sent her a lot of cash and paid all her bills out for, I think, 3-4 months. I can't remember, honestly. It was a lot of money. And then the whole time, she was still just like racking up credit cards, forged my signature, and pretty much could have wiped me out. I was at a job where your credit score does matter because it's a security job. If you have a top secret security clearance, they expect you to not have any secrets. Like, you have to be a Boy Scout. I almost lost my job because of this. And I confronted her about that, and the same thing. Even though my signature, well, her signature was on there with my name, she has very distinctive, almost calligraphic handwriting. It's gorgeous. My handwriting looks like I was trying to write Arabic, but then I sneezed. Arabic is a very beautiful language, but my handwriting is not. It's horrible. And I'm looking at this, and I'm begging like companies to not like press charges against her, just transfer it so I don't have this on my record. I confronted her about that. No, I would never do that. It's right here. I see your name. This is your handwriting. I can't write this well. So this whole thing started with me wanting a fucking kilt. And I think the only thing that came positive out of this whole thing, because I stopped speaking to my mother, and I haven't talked to her in, what was it, 2015? 2012. 2012. I haven't talked to her, no, 2010. I haven't talked to her in that long. I have not had any contact with her. And it sounds like I'm a terrible person if I just come off the street and say, oh, I haven't talked to my mom in about 5 years. To anybody, because a lot of people value family. And I do value family, just the family I choose. So the only thing good that came out of me buying a damn kilt was that I got a kilt. Every other thing that happened after that was kind of terrible. And I feel terrible for saying this is the happiest I've ever been because I haven't talked to my mother in 5 years.